Today, a jury found Rick Chow not guilty in the shooting death of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton, man. This is bringing one of the most controversial cases in South Carolina to a close. But while the verdict may be final, the debate over whether justice was served is only beginning. And this is why there's a lot of things I don't cover. You know, I'm into music, so you're gonna see me do that. My channel is mostly based off of that. But there's a lot of more things serious going on other than the Drake, Kendrick, Jay-Z saga. For those unfamiliar with this case, this tragedy began in May of 2023 when 14-year-old Cyrus was accused of taking a water bottle from this gas station. And the guy that was found not guilty, Rick Chow, he and his son accused Cyrus of stealing when evidence presented in the trial showed that accusation was false. Despite that, the prosecutors argued that Rick Chow and his son, Andy Chow, chased Cyrus more than 100 yards away from the store. Keep that in mind. That's over a football field. During that pursuit, Cyrus was shot in the back and killed. Again, I repeat, he was shot in the back and killed. After hearing weeks of testimony, reviewing evidence, and deliberating for more than 8 hours, the jury returned a verdict of not guilty on the charge of murder. Now, this is where we have to put on our thinking caps on and realize what just happened. This reminds me of, unfortunately, the Trayvon Martin situation. And even then, I knew they charged Zimmerman with the wrong charge. A not guilty verdict does not necessarily mean that the jury believed every action taken that day was justified. It means that the prosecution failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the specific crime that Chow was charged with raised a difficult question. And in my opinion, I think the prosecutors overcharged in this case. You know, I have to be fair. I deal with the law, studied pre-law, and I have to admit, they used the wrong charge in this case. I would have liked to see manslaughter, maybe even second-degree murder, but first-degree murder, you're reaching. From the beginning, the state pursued a murder conviction, but murder charges require jurors to find specific elements that can be difficult to prove, especially when the defense team introduces arguments about fear, perceived threats, self-defense, or split-second decision-making. Keep in mind, this is South Carolina, man. South Carolina. Historically, not a lot of black folks get justice there. I gotta keep it a buck all the way. Many observers are now asking whether a manslaughter charge or second-degree murder charge would have been a more realistic path, as I said earlier, right? That would have led to accountability, because if jurors believe Rick Chow acted recklessly, as the evidence proved he did, negligently, or unlawfully during the confrontation, which the evidence showed the young man didn't steal anything, but we're not convinced that the evidence met the legal definition of murder, is what the jury basically told the world. They may have felt obliged under the law to acquit, and that's what happened. Now, that's one of the harshest realities of the criminal justice system. Jurors don't decide what feels fair. They decide whether the prosecution proved the exact charge placed before them. And this is why the judge took his time explaining to the jury how they should commence upon that final verdict. And I'm sure they sat there thinking, damn, I know this man did something wrong, but it's just not the charge that we would have like presented to us. And when prosecutors aim for the highest possible charge, understand, folks, they sometimes risk leaving jurors with an all or nothing decision. And the judge even told them that. Now, here's the more sensitive part. I gotta keep it real as a father of 6 children, man. For Cyrus and his family Today's verdict, as you've seen them welling in court, right? Today's verdict is undoubtedly heartbreaking. A 14-year-old boy lost his life over an incident involving a bottle of water he didn't even steal. So for those that are going to mention a gun being found or whatever, keep in mind, the Chow family stated they ran after him for stealing, but the evidence showed otherwise, not to mention him being shot in his back and countless witnesses testifying that the boy never reached for anything, pulled anything out. He put his hands up after being shot in the back. It's crazy when you think about it. An incident involving a bottle of water he didn't even steal caused him his life. No verdict can change that reality. No verdict can give his family their son back. This case will likely be discussed for years, as Trayvon's case has been, not only because of the tragic loss of a young life, but because it raises larger questions about charging decisions. This is why I want you guys to pay more attention to your local districts, right? It's not always about voting nationally. The DA you choose to be a representation of you and yourself as a constituent is what failed here. That brother, although I will say tried his best, in my opinion, still went out with the wrong charge on Mr. Chow. The strategy and whether justice is always served when the legal outcome and public perception seems world apart always feels unfair, man. What do y'all think? I had to pause because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I got children that age, man. Did prosecutors make a mistake by pursuing a murder charge instead of a lesser homicide charge? Or did the jury reach the correct verdict based on the law and evidence presented? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Right before I leave, I will say this. These words may not help Cyrus family with how they're feeling, but those of you that are watching, especially if you look like me, these are the moments where we take our children aside and we make them pay attention to this stuff. It's that important, y'all. I hate to say it, but even in death, there are lessons to be had all around in the justice system, our communities, our individual families. Keep that in mind. A 14-year-old was shot and killed, shot in the back over a bottle of water under a false claim of theft. And said shooter was found not guilty. I want to leave y'all with that and let it resonate. But I am Meshach. Thank you for tuning in to Reset with Meshach. And I do think many things need to be reset. Our decision making, our talks with our children, our voting power that we don't use properly and wait for national elections. Choosing the right DA may have changed the outcome of that trial. And that's what I leave y'all with. I'm out.